There's a moment when the crowd keeps moving, but you don't. Not because you're lost, not because you've given up, but because something else inside you says, this isn't the way. The world calls it walking away. Some call it isolation. Some call it nihilism. But not every hard road is empty. Not every lone path is meaningless. Jesus walked away from crowds too, not because nothing mattered, but because everything did. He knew that obedience would cost him. He knew what he was waiting for on the other side, and he chose the narrow road anyway. Becoming unshakable has never meant choosing what's easy. It has always meant choosing what's true. Sometimes the wide road is loud, fast, and celebrated, and the narrow road is quiet, slow, and misunderstood. But the narrow road leads somewhere eternal. It does, doesn't it? So if you find yourself stepping away from the noise, from that rush, from what everybody else says you should want, ask yourself gently, am I walking away because I've lost meaning or because I finally found it? Because the hard path isn't proof that nothing matters. Sometimes it's the proof that everything does. Sit back, get comfortable, because this is a great conversation we're about to have.
No. Ooh, that's better, right, babe?
Yeah. She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids,
and everything in between.
Hello, my friend, and welcome back to Becoming Unshakable, the Legacy Conversation bonus series, a special edition brought to you by the Entrepreneur Parents Podcast, a community of strong families building unshakable legacies. I'm your host, Ildiko Ferenczi. Here, we talk about the moments that shake us and the faith, courage, and love that helps us stand again. So wherever you are, driving, folding laundry, putting together the little socks, I always envision that this might be exactly what you're doing right now, or just taking a few moments to breathe, holding the little ones. I am so glad you're here. Let's take this time to grow stronger together. Let me start with a simple sentence that may sound maybe even too gentle, but it's actually really powerful. Being unshakable was never the easy road. And I want to talk about that today through something that has been circulating online. Can you guess what it is? There's a viral image, this idea, the symbol of a penguin walking away from the crowd. Some people are calling it nihilistic. Some people call it lost. And then there are others who look at it and say, no, that's not giving up. That's choosing the harder path. I'm talking about that image. If you haven't seen it, it's very powerful. It's just a short, it's one, the image of him walking away from the crowd, the still image, and then there's the video of this penguin walking away from the crowd and it does this little look back, literally pulls on your heartstrings because he's choosing a completely different path, walking away from everything he knows, he loves, and he's choosing to walk this path anyway. And I want to hold this conversation carefully because I actually think there are multiple ways people are interpreting it. I think that's why it's so viral, millions and millions of views and shares. And not everyone is coming from the same place. So let's slow down, let's be wise, and let's be discerning. Because here's the truth. Two people can walk away from the crowd and be walking for two completely different reasons. One person walks away because they believe nothing matters. Another person walks away because they believe something matters more. And that distinction changes everything. A true nihilistic posture says nothing has meaning, nothing is true, nothing is worth it. So why even try? I'm done. But the Jesus-shaped road looks very different. Jesus didn't walk away because his life was meaningless. We know that he was walking towards something of a certain death, right? He could have at any time come back and changed that path, but he didn't because he was so... He walked away because truth was so meaningful. He refused the shortcut. He chose obedience even when it was lonely. He chose the Father's will even when it cost him everything because he loves us that much. He didn't drift into darkness. He walked toward redemption with careful purpose. Very careful purpose. And that's why we have to be careful not to confuse two kinds of hard. Because yes, the road with God is not always the most comfortable road, right? This is true. Jesus himself told us, enter through the narrow gate. Small is the gate and narrow the road that leads us to life. The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 13 through 14. That's what it tells us. The narrow road is not the popular road. It's not always applauded. It's not. It's not always understood. And for entrepreneur parents in general out there, you already know this. Sometimes the narrow road looks like staying faithful when it would be easier to numb out, choosing integrity when you could make more money cutting corners. You could order that thing. Don't worry about the ingredients. Just sell. Use influencers that have millions and millions of followers. That's not integrity. That is not something we want to do, especially as parents and little ones looking at us doing these things. It also looks like protecting your marriage when culture tells you to quit. What do they say? You don't feel love, leave. You don't feel good, leave. It also looks like protecting your children's peace when the world tells you to hand them distractions. Give them an iPad. Put them in sports, or not sports, but just put them in something so that you can have your free time and go for coffee, go for drinks, go shopping. Just drop them off somewhere. And we'll pick them up at 7:00 tonight. And that gives me all this free time because I feel distracted. I don't want to be hands-on, or I'm going to go build my business and I'm not going to let them experience what we're doing. We're not going to build this together. I'll just see them later on. It also looks like building slowly, wisely, prayerfully. That is a huge part in our community. choosing those things instead of living loudly. So yes, sometimes walking away from the crowd is not despair or loss of hope, which is, I think, why it's so interesting and this topic has gone so viral, because it's looked at in two different ways. But sometimes I think that image, it kind of reminds the people that don't want to just follow the crowd, that are making their own decisions and walking the godly way, that just a reminder, it's not despair, it's not loss of hope, it's quite the opposite. And sometimes it's discernment. Sometimes it's the moment you realize I'm not called to blend in. I'm not called to be busy. I'm not called to be everywhere. I'm actually, what I am called to be is aligned. And this is where I want to offer something very practical. You may want to grab your journal and write this down. Not rush through it, but keep it, and that way you can return to it later. I know we love to journal here. I know we love to take notes and check it out later down the road. So if you feel like you're walking away from something right now, ask yourself this: am I walking away because I've lost meaning, or because I've finally found it? Right? Sometimes you have to walk away in that case. When you finally found meaning, you have to live your life differently. Am I leaving from bitterness or from refinement? Am I detaching because I feel numb, or because I'm choosing obedience? Write these down and put them away for later. Because here's what I've learned: not everyone who leaves the crowd is lost. Some people are finally listening. And at the same time, we do have to stay honest. Sometimes people are walking away and they're hurting, right? They're exhausted. They're disappointed. And they've been carrying too much for too long. So if that's you, I want you to hear me. Feeling tired does not make you faithless. Being confused does not mean you're broken. It may mean you need rest. It may mean you need support. You need to lean into people to talk to, counselors, your family, your friends. Most importantly, your spouse. Before you reach for that coffee, consider this. What if the energy boost you're looking for isn't in your cup, but in your cells? I challenge you to swap your morning coffee for Shilajit by Symbiotica. And here's what can happen. No crash, no jitters, just clean, sustained energy, plus mental clarity and trace minerals that our bodies actually need, that are actually starving for, to be honest. This isn't just a supplement. It's an ancient adaptogen sourced from the Himalayas that supports mitochondrial function, stamina, and overall vitality. Your coffee never did that. Okay, let's just be honest. Try it for a week and tell me your body doesn't thank you. Symbiotica's Shilajit is next level wellness, and honestly, you may never go back to drinking coffee. Click the link below down in the bio and get your Shilajit today. Yeah, it's powerful because, as I said, there are two reasons to walk away, right? And if you're in this kind of exhaustion, this is something that's very important, and you need to act on it. It may mean you need God's voice above all the noise. It means you should start praying again, or maybe even pray for the first time. And I want to anchor this episode in a scripture that we're not going to skip it because it calls us to live this, not just admire it. James chapter 1, verse 22 through 25. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it will be blessed in what they do. Did you hear that? The law that gives freedom. Unshakable doesn't come from doing whatever feels easiest or feels good. Unshakable comes from building your life on what's true. So today, here's your unshakable takeaway. If God is closing a door, don't turn it, how do I say this? Don't turn it into a tragedy. Like, don't dwell on it because it may be protection. If God is calling you to walk the narrow road, don't interpret the difficulty as rejection. It might be refinement. That's a blessing. Being unshakable was never the easy road, but it is the one, it's the one worth walking, right? It's not always going to be the easy road. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be self-discipline. Okay? It's going to be tough, but it is the one worth walking. And sometimes while we're walking that road, we're very much alone, right? And before we close, I'll leave you with this. The hard path isn't proof that nothing matters. Sometimes the hard path is proof that everything does. Everything. If this episode spoke to your heart, please share it with someone who might need to know they're not alone. Because when you share, you plant seeds of hope in another family's story. And if you'd like to help us keep building faith, strength, and courage in families everywhere, you can support the children's podcast, the Entrepreneur Kids Legacy Show. I hope that you're listening to it. Listen, all links are in the show notes below. Daniel and Destiny are working so hard. They're even using their own savings. They're doing jobs to fund the show, to bring leadership, faith, and legacy lessons to children all around the world. And every act of support, every gift helps their voices grow stronger. I believe it's buymeacoffee.com/entrepreneurkids. I think that's it. I believe that's it, but you'll find it in the show notes down below. Listen, perhaps the viral image of that penguin, the one who stepped away from the crowd, perhaps it awakened something powerful in some of us. I mean, everybody had a different interpretation. That is why it became so viral so quickly. I believe that everybody has their own interpretation to see someone walking away or this animal, this little penguin walking away from the crowd. But I really do feel that it awakened, this image awakened something powerful in some of us. It reminded us of something deep, quiet recognition, a memory of someone else who once walked a road alone. And however it was interpreted, however it was received, the truth is, being unshakable was never meant to be easy. It was never meant to be crowded, and it was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to be faithful, because strong families aren't built on shortcuts. They're built on daily decisions no one applauds. Quiet obedience, long forgiveness, right? At the end of the day, we don't go to sleep fighting. Some of us do, but that's not the way we should, right? Choosing presence over pride, truth over convenience, commitment when leaving would be easier, especially in our marriages. It's important for our children to see this is the road that shapes marriages. This is the road that steadies homes. This is the road our children learn from long before they even understand it. They are watching how we walk, where we walk, what path we take, how we choose, how we return to truth when it would be easier to drift. Drift with everyone else, drift with the crowd, be in with the crowd. And one day, long after the noise fades, what will remain. My mouth is working faster than my mind. It's not how fast we moved. Listen, what will remain is not how fast we moved, but where our footsteps led us, right? Where our footsteps led our children, led our family, right? They're going to remember that exact thing, where our footprints led them. That's a big responsibility on our end as parents, because strong families build unshakable legacies, and meaning isn't found by escaping the hard road, but by walking the narrow, quiet road of truth with obedience. That legacy begins when we choose the harder path that leads our children home to heaven. That is becoming unshakable. I love you guys. God bless you. Glory to God always. I love you. Have an incredible week. So glad you joined us for this conversation, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, beautiful friends, for listening to this important message from Mama. Share with someone you love and care about. Oh, and we'd love to personally invite you to listen to our podcast. It's for young future leaders ready to change the world and be a light in the dark. Listen together as a family. It's called the Optional Kids Legacy Show. We know you'll love it. Be bold, be kind, build an unforgettable family legacy. God bless you. We love you. And parents, if no one told you yet, let us be the first. You're doing a remarkable job. And remember, you are the hero of your story, because every legacy begins with a hero, and that hero is you.
This podcast is for inspirational and educational purposes only, and it is not intended to replace professional advice, legal advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The views expressed are based on personal experience and faith-based insight and are meant to encourage reflection and growth. Always seek the guidance of qualified professionals regarding any questions or concerns you may have about your health, relationships, or business.